It's me, Magia Maya, and today I'm going to talk about... Oh, you want to join in, do you? Do you? This is Merlin, everyone. Very vocal. But anyway, I'm here to talk to you today about EDS. Now, EDS, and there's 13 different types, I believe, and all of which are very unique. I don't know much about the others, but I have hypermobility EDS, so I have HEDS, which is actually the most common form of Ehlers Danlos Syndrome. It's still considered a rare disease. I also have POTS, Postural, Orthostatic Tachycardia syndrome, which causes me to faint, but I'm on medication, so that is thankfully, touch wood, stopped it for good. But I still feel the effects, but I'm on medication, so I can still drive, I can still do day-to-day activities, not having to worry that I'm going to pass out because of medication that I'm on that stops it. So I'm not a doctor, so everything in which I say in this video is very specific to me, and only me. Everybody experiences EDS differently, everyone experiences POTS differently, no one's reaction to it is the same, which makes it so rare and so hard to diagnose, which is why it takes many years for most people to get diagnosis. It took me 3 years after countless doctors saying that I was just basically having random fainting fits and etc. and other things like that. It was actually a ambulance paramedic that mentioned POTS for the first time, which then led my mum to go and search doctors who specialised in specifically POTS because it matched my description. And it turns out I don't just have POTS, I have EDS as well. I got diagnosed with that about a year ago now, actually. Yeah, I've only known, but it took 3 years to get to that doctor. It's now 4 years, and yeah, I've had diagnosis for almost a year now. I'm actually not, I use crutches and a walking stick. I can use one, just a stick, when I'm on flat ground. On my good days I can meander around just using one stick. On my bad days I have to use crutches, 2 crutches. However, when it comes to stairs, I have to use crutches no matter what. I mean, on my really, really bad days, I tend to just stay in bed. I don't even get up. And that is a very common thing with people with EDS, but the difference being is my knee is not actually an EDS problem. It's still under investigation, so I'm still yet to find out what this is about, what my right knee causes me pain for, but they reckon it's almost a cause from. It's not EDS, but it's a cause from, because people with EDS tend to have chronic pain in different joints for a short period of time. So a couple of days you have really bad, or I tend to have really bad knee, like left knee problems or shoulder problems, and then they go and then it's my wrists or my fingers. It really varies, and that's why we know it's not EDS that is causing my knee problem. Now, another thing, when I was going through the diagnosis process, my doctor told me that I had to eat consistently, so I had to graze throughout the day. Now, for most people, it works, otherwise she wouldn't have suggested that, but for me it really didn't. I'm not a foodie person. I have specific times at which I eat. If I could, I'd put all my food into a drink and just drink that. But you can't do that, so I eat at certain times. But she wanted me to eat even before I got up. Like, I don't eat breakfast. Admittedly, I should, but I have like smoothies for breakfast. I still have something, it's not like I don't have anything, but I have like a smoothie like from fresh fruit or frozen fruit, and then I put yogurt and milk together and have a smoothie, or I have a hot chocolate, and I do have something, but I'm not into eating the minute I get up, so I really struggled for doing that. I did that for about 6 months, and you have to eat salt as well, have to eat more salt than most people, is another thing they recommend. Both of which I struggled with. I mean, the salt thing wasn't as hard, but eating consistently, eating before lunch, after lunch, actually lunch, breakfast, before breakfast, before dinner, and literally like when I went to bed, I don't want to be eating something just before I go to bed. Like, it's not fun. Now, with another thing with Ehlers Danlos Syndrome, it's genetic, so if your parents have it, you have a 50% chance of getting it, because it is the dominant allele in the genes. Now, I don't know much about any of this, so this is just going on from the basics in which I know. I mean, it has a normal lifestyle. It's pretty much very similar. Very similar to anyone with arthritis, as so to say. We experience extreme pain, but we can still, it's not hindering our life expectancy with HEDS. Just put that out there. It's only with hypermobility Ehlers Danlos. I don't know anything about the other 13 types. I just don't know. So do not take me for any of them, because I don't know about them. I only know about hypermobility. But it doesn't hinder our life expectancy. It does affect our day-to-day life, but it doesn't stop us. Like, the one thing I want to get back into is trampolining. Yeah, it's going to absolutely wreck my joints, probably, but I don't want this illness to stop me from doing things that I love doing. It's taken too much away from me already, and I won't let it take any more. So other tests in which you can do to find out, or the doctors do to find out about this condition, is usually looking back into the family history, and basically some tests like being able to pull your thumb back all the way to your wrist, which is something that I can do. Also, stretchy skin, extra stretchy skin, more stretchy than normal. Both of those things are a common cause, oh, not common cause, but a common symptom with Ehlers Danlos. Also, along with the chronic pain, which I think we all feel, and the recurrent disculations and subluxes. Now, I experience that on a day-to-day basis. My shoulders are the worst. They come out of joint and they don't go back in on their own. Everything else on my body goes back in naturally on its own. If it comes out, it goes back in immediately. But my shoulders, if both of my shoulders come out at the same time, I need someone to put them back in for me. It's not fun, but because I've been dealing with this forever, I've kind of not got used to the pain, but know what I have to expect. They're the least painful of all my joints personally to me. My knees and my hips are the worst when they come out of joint. That's really, really horrible. But subluxes I tend to feel daily in my knees. Thankfully they don't come out all the time, but they definitely sublux. Good boy. Also another thing in which we tend to get is scars, i.e. stretch marks. I've got some down my arms here, I've got some on the inside of my leg, behind my knee, and I think that's all I've got, all stretch marks. I don't fully understand why we are prone to getting stretch marks. I don't understand it, but we do. I know that other conditions lead into this, like for me it would be POTS. I mean, I have I have POTS intertwined almost with my EDS. Most of us also suffer with anxiety and depression. I have GAD, I have generalised anxiety disorder. I'm not depressed, but I experience depression because of this illness, because it is so debilitating, because of the pain in which I go through. People with EDS are known for having depression as well. There are other illnesses as well which I don't have and I don't really know anything about, so I don't really want to bring them up because I'll definitely get things wrong with them. But there's also I think gut problems as well, stomach problems that develop, but I don't know anything about them, so if you want to go and search them up, then go ahead. You'll probably find out more information than what I know. Oh, you want to join in? Do you want to join in? My noisy boy? That again was Merlin. Funny boy, aren't you? So it took me 3 years to get diagnosed. I went literally from doctor to doctor, and through that, I mean, it started off as fainting. I've had this almost ongoing for a very, very long time. I'm 18 years old now, and it started back when I was in infant school. Oh no, junior school, sorry. So I must have been about seven or 8, where I was having knee problems. I used to go on walking holidays with my dad, and we used to go like to Snowdon and Scarfell Pike, and we used to go all over the country, Wales, Scotland. I think we went near Scotland. I don't actually think we went into Scotland, but went all over the country in the UK to basically do walking holidays, walk for miles. And I used to have really bad knee problems when I was about 7 years old, and it's just kind of continued from there. I've always come out of joint. I don't remember a time where I haven't. It never used to hurt as much when I was younger, but I still did used to come out of joint. It used to be a party trick because I can pull all my fingers out of joint. I used to show, oh look people, I can pull my fingers out of joint. Which I always used to get into trouble from my dad and parents for doing. But it used to be a party trick. Now it's not so fun. But I've had this for a long, long time, and I started passing out probably end of secondary school. That's when it all really kicked off. But before then, I used to pass out if I was doing any kind of sports. I used to love running. Absolutely loved running because I was really, really quick. Used to have running races, hurdles. Used to love jumping. Absolutely used to love jumping over things. Love trampolining. Love horse riding. All the active sports. I used to walk miles. Obviously, I can't do that anymore due to the fact I'm on crutches, and it's a lot more difficult. But yeah, there is. Basically the moral is I used to be really active, and then I started passing out. I used to pass out all the time. It got to the point with my college, because I was at animal college, I was at Postural. They were hesitant of letting me continue because I used to pass out all the time, and yeah, it was messy. So my mum ended up finding a doctor, and we went to her, and she basically diagnosed me almost immediately with Ehlers Danlos Syndrome and with POTS. Ever since then, we managed to figure out the fainting. The fainting stopped pretty much with tablets, which was amazing. Then my knee started to mess up, my right knee. Now, as I said, we don't know what's wrong with that. At first, everyone thought it was just Ehlers Danlos Syndrome. I was just going to experience it for a week. Then, a couple of months later, it was not going away, and then it's now been almost a year, actually. Yeah, it's been about a year. Almost immediately after my diagnosis, my knee started playing up, but it wasn't ridiculously bad. In, I think, June it's going to be a year I've been on crutches. And it was in April I got diagnosed, so yeah, now I'm on crutches and I can't basically be active anymore. So yeah, it's been a massively long struggle trying to regain confidence, which is why I'm doing this channel, is to inform people that it isn't the end of the world. There is going to be a light at the end of the tunnel. I may not be there yet, but I will get there. And I don't want to let this condition, although it feels like I should, I don't want to let it get in the way of my life. I don't think it should. I was an active person before, I want to be an active person again. I have to obviously take into consideration my limits, but I'm going to try and do as much as I possibly can with best of my ability, and we'll see how it goes from there. Thank you for listening, thank you for putting up with Merlin, who's been noisy all the way through. See you next time.